welcome to today's episode of So What's the Catch? We are all here on time. Jerk, how does it feel to be here right when the show starts?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. pretty good.
Did anybody else have a rough day yesterday? Because I certainly did.
Yeah.
No, why?
I had to get an impromptu root canal.
Ooh, those are fun, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, getting
The dentist-
Novocaine in your mouth? Uh-uh.
The Novocaine is the part you didn't
The
like?
Novocaine is what makes people feel good.
Yeah, that's
I hate like getting needles and shots and stuff like that.
I'm the same way with the needles, just like beforehand, but once it's there, then I'm okay. That's how I am.
I'm like when I had to when I had to get the anesthesia for my elbow surgery, I was not a happy camper.
This is fascinating.
You learn more about Josh's dental history here.
Seriously. You want to just violate HIPAA and just give us your entire medical history here while we're at it?
Absolutely not, because that's not what everybody came here to watch or listen to.
That's HIPAA with 2 P's.
All right. Anyway, it is April 15th, 2022. No, we did not jump ahead a year. But it is a busy day in sports because it is Jackie Robinson Day all across Major League Baseball. And then tonight we have the 2 play-in tournament games where it is win or go home.
In the NBA you're referring to?
Correct.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yes. But let's start with some Major League Baseball. As I said, it is Jackie Robinson Day, but not just Jackie Robinson Day. It is the 75th anniversary of Jackie Robinson Day.
Yes, it is.
I was expecting somebody to pick it up there.
Well, yeah, that was kind of sounded rhetorical to me. It sounded more like a statement than a question.
Thank God. This show's off to a great start.
Anyway, the Guardians are hot. How about we talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
4-2 on their 6-game road trip.
Yeah, great way to start the year. Well, started the year 0-2, not looking so great. And since then, we've been on a 4-game winning streak. So the Guardians are hot. And home opener is tonight at 7 o'clock. Well, 7:10, 7:05.
Yeah. 7. Who cares? 7.
Yeah. And all I see in the group chat between the 3 of us is Stephen Kwan. 2 seconds later, Stephen Kwan. 2 seconds later, Stephen Kwan.
Excuse me, can I introduce you to our Lord and Savior, Stephen Kwan?
Yes, it is Friday. Good Friday.
Yes, it is Good Friday. But I think in your mind, Brian, it's Kwanzaa.
Sure, I'll go with Kwanzaa. I'll celebrate Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa's a good one.
I mean, that's what you text. That's what you say in the group chat.
Stephen Kwan is carrying this Guardians offense to new heights. Let's be real here. It's Stephen Kwan. It's Jose Ramirez. He already has 2 Grand Slams. And it's Owen Miller basically supplanting Bobby Bradley at first base, which is the greatest development of all time, at least for the Guardians this season.
Yeah, Owen Miller with the 2 home run game. Absolutely awesome to see that kind of production coming from first base because we weren't getting it from Yu Chang or Bobby Bradley when they were playing first. So
I mean, it was a black hole in the lineup when those 2 guys were there.
100%.
And now we got guys that put the ball in play. Then we got guys that are actually contributing instead of a bottom half of the lineup that goes 0 for 11, 0 for 12, 0 for 13, which we had in the first couple games, minus Stephen Kwan.
Right. Yeah, worth noting that Stephen Kwan set major league records for on base percentage in his first 4 games. So yeah, he got off to about as hot of a start as he was humanly possible. So that was awesome. And now Jose Ramirez has got it all figured out. And as of right now, he's got off to he's got the most RBIs through 6 games for any Cleveland Guardian player in organization history. So I think that that's a huge accomplishment for Jose too. So everything's kind of clicking at the right time on offense for the Guardians. Good timing going into the home opener tonight.
Yeah.
Very good timing. Very good timing. They'll be playing the best team they've played so far. I mean, Brian, me and you elaborated this on our pod.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Guarding the Corner. Go check that out everywhere where pods are. But they're playing the best team that they faced so far in the Giants, and they'll have a tough task, honestly. The Giants are a better team than the Reds or the Royals. And so we'll get a better idea of where this team actually is performance-wise. I mean, obviously, leading the league, leading all of baseball, actually, in runs scored and run differential is very impressive. Okay.
Very impressive, yeah.
But at the same time, they haven't played anybody yet.
No, that's very true. And not only are we playing the Giants, who are a better team, we're going up against Carlos Rodon, who we have plenty of history with.
Jesus.
He's a guy that's given this team nightmares from when he was within the division. So a familiar foe, which will be interesting. It's definitely a storyline to follow tonight, because there was a time when we were hitting him really well, and then in recent history, he just gave us fits. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Guardians' new approach at the plate and the new direction this team is going hitting wise. It'll be interesting to see how that translates.
Wasn't he one of the 4 pitchers that threw a no-hitter against us last year?
Yeah, he did throw a no-hitter. He almost had a perfect game, but it was a no-hitter.
Yeah. One of the 10,000 no-hitters in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
It's amazing what happens when the team focuses on contact and not power, and it doesn't look like this team's going to get no-hit at all this season, honestly.
Yeah. I would be shocked if this team gets no hit with the approach that we have.
Yeah.
Shout out Chris Valleca.
Yeah. And assistant hitting coach Victor Rodriguez too. The guys absolutely love that guy too. So both of them doing a very, very good job for the team right now. We're used to talking about the pitching coach, and
Carl Willis, or
guy
that we're not going to bring up.
Right. Yeah. That's usually the side of things where we see great coaching from our assistants, and to see it from the hitting side of things is a breath of fresh air for a team that's been anemic on offense for a couple of years now.
I mean, the fact that I don't got to hear people bitch about Ty Van Berkeley anymore is just so nice.
So let me ask you guys this, because in the first 2 games against Kansas City, we couldn't do anything offensively. And then in these last 4 games, the offense has absolutely exploded. What type of adjustment do you think the Guardians made to find this offensive spark that they didn't have in the first 2 games?
Benching Bobby Bradley and Yu Chang.
Yeah, the biggest difference is the lineup changes that were made. As soon as you got those 2 out of the lineup, and you see how Owen Miller's producing, and guys like Oscar Mercado, who's not hitting for great average, but he's had some huge moments with a couple big home runs and plenty of RBIs. So yeah, I think that the biggest adjustment was just the people on the field, to be honest.
It's those guys. It's putting Ahmed Rosario back at shortstop. I think the Ahmed Rosario left fielder experiment is over after just 5 innings, which I'm fine with. Play the damn guy at shortstop. He's a better batter when he's in the infield rather than the outfield. Part of the reason we lost in the first game was because of Ahmed Rosario and his inability to track the ball in a windy situation at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. But now that he's at shortstop, he's got to worry about the tracking that's required in the outfield. He's playing better.
Yeah, when you're comfortable in your position defensively, it makes your approach at the plate much easier.
Yeah, I agree with you about that.
When guys are played out of position, it kind of throws their rhythm through a loop, and it can change their approaches at the plate too.
Right.
And I think once they moved him to short and he was comfortable in the field, he's started to hit the ball better. He's not, not setting records by any means or anything like that, but he's producing better than those first couple of games were not good for him.
Right.
And the big knock on Ahmed in the infield is he's not the best defensive shortstop, but you really don't need great defense out of him, because you have Jose Ramirez on the other side. You got Andres Jimenez at second. Just have those 2 guys carry the weight defensively on that area of the infield, and just hope that he plays good enough that he's not a liability.
Yeah, Andreas Jimenez has actually played a little bit better than I was expecting him to. I don't know why. I just didn't have high
That makes sense, Josh. Yeah, he's not a guy going into this season that you had circled on the roster thinking he was
right.
Things.
But I would say up to this point anyway, he's exceeded my expectations at least a little bit.
I think the majority of the lineup has exceeded expectations. Let's be honest here. No one saw Stephen Kwan coming like this. I mean, we expected something from Stephen Kwan. We didn't expect him to be, this good in the plate vision and control plate discipline department. Oscar Mercado's hitting for power. He reportedly put on 20 pounds of muscle. He looks like he put on 20 pounds of muscle. He's a much bigger guy. And Owen Miller is finally showing why he's an important part of the trade that we got back. We got him from San Diego a couple years ago. So, these guys are finally getting the chance to play, and they're finally showing that they belong.
Yeah, Josh, I don't know if you noticed this. The first couple of games, we got zero production from the bottom half of the order.
I did notice that.
And in the past 4 games, we're hitting up and down, from the 1 spot to the 9 spot. Everybody is hitting,
Well, not the 9 spot.
Well, yeah.
Or Brian Lavastida.
Yeah, the catcher situation is not good from an offensive standpoint. And to be quite honest, even from a defensive standpoint so far in the season, quite a few stolen bases against us, and some less than stellar moments defensively behind the plate as well. So, yeah, it's a head scratcher. But, yeah, 1 through 8, we'll give them that. 1 through 8 have been.
All right, 1 through 8.
It's funny. The National League adopts the DH. The Guardians go we're still going to get no production from the 9 spot in the order because we have Austin Hedges and he hits like a pitcher.
Yeah, that's the best thing I've heard anybody say about his hitting is that he hits like a pitcher.
Yeah,
not bad. It's the best compliment you can give him.
Yeah,
but anyways, very, very interesting set for the Guardians taking on the Giants at home. I'm very excited. I'm going to be watching that this evening. Maybe I'll flip it to the Cavs game later if it's interesting down the stretch. But my priority is the Guardians game, honestly.
Yeah, I'm stoked for this home opener. I'm stoked with how the team's playing right now. What were you going to say, Josh?
If the Cavs do or die game wasn't on tonight, I would be watching the Guardians home opener, but the Cavs take priority for me personally.
I've got multiple screens.
I do too, so I'll still find a way to have the Guardians game on, but on my big screen, it's going to be the Cavs.
Yeah, I'm with James. I'll passively be watching the Cavaliers, but I'll be actively watching the home opener. I'm super excited for it.
I am too.
And this little run of success that we're having too, it's just made everything better. The conversations about the team's new name and, the marketing of it. And, I'm happy with everything now. It's okay, I'm all in on the Guardians branding. I'm all in on the roster right now. I'm all in with, them making the big signings of Jose Ramirez and Emmanuel Clase. I'm all in right now and a lot more excited than I thought I would be 6 games into the year. That's for sure.
Seriously, the 4 of us need to find a way to get down to Progressive Field and go to a Guardians game.
Could be a fun time.
Yeah, I'd be down.
Yeah, I'm always down to go to the G spot in the corner of
I love it. The G spot.
Yeah, and if you need directions, Josh, I promise you I can help you find the G spot.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
But anyways, I don't know how the hell I'm going to segue out of that. As you mentioned, it is Jackie Robinson Day. It is the 75th anniversary of him breaking the color barrier all those years ago. All the teams will be wearing 42 in Dodger blue on their uniforms. I think that's the coolest thing that they could have done. Honestly, I don't know why they've waited this long to make it 42 in Dodger blue.
Yeah. I like the thought of the Boston Red Sox having the Dodger blue numbers.
How about the San Francisco Giants having to wear Dodger blue on their uniform?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
That's interesting. But, yeah, I mean, it's
not their road jerseys, not their home jerseys.
Yeah, but this is something that MLB has gotten right for a long time. Jackie Robinson Day is always fun. And it's important to honor his legacy and the impact he had on the game. And to remember that, baseball wasn't even his first sport. Baseball was his 4th sport. So for the guy to have the success that he did, just a freak athlete, you know what I mean? Like to be able to adjust from being a star running back to, you know, being an outfielder in Major League Baseball, and, you know, going through the war and everything else that he went through, you know, guys like Bob Feller and other people that have, you know, went through the World War II and then returned to play more baseball, you know, and I think that that's impressive on its own right. So
yeah, for Jackie Robinson to come up and play for the Dodgers, for Branch Rickey to, you know, put his neck on the line there to sign Jackie Robinson in the first place, then call him up, then have Jackie deal with all the, you know, the bullshit with everyone being, you know, saying horrible things and purposely throwing at him and hitting him. And, you know, I can't remember the Ben Chapman, the Phillies manager, and how horrible of a person he was, and how he's instructing his players to do that stuff to Jackie is just, it's honestly, for him to just get through that adversity and, you know, be able to persevere is very impressive.
Yeah. And when you look at how this set the table for some of the like Cleveland Guardians legends too, Satchel Paige, Larry Doby, Frank Robinson, like the list goes on. Like he is the one, you know, he broke through, he made that possible. And, you know, those are, you know, three of the best players in the organization's history. So, you know, he was an impactful player to Cleveland even in his own roundabout way. So,
right.
And if you guys have never seen the movie 42 with Chadwick Boseman, I highly recommend it.
Great movie.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's very good. Baseball movies rule. I love baseball movies.
Yeah.
They're really good. But moving on, Albert Pujols. He's back in St. Louis. He had his first home run as a Cardinal since 2011.
He did have his – sorry, guys.
Oh, great timing there. It just feels right for Albert Pujols to be back in a Cardinals uniform. I don't know. Something just didn't feel right when he came back to St. Louis in an Angels uniform and later in a Dodgers uniform. And I'm like, he should not be playing in St. Louis with an Angels uniform or a Dodgers uniform. He needs to be in a Cardinals uniform.
And that's a good thing that he's back. You know, he's doing like the Last Dance tour with him and Yachty and Adam Wainwright. So, I mean, they're all going to be done after this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how far the Cardinals go. I do think the Cardinals win that division because I think that division kind of stinks. I think the Cardinals are good, not great. But, you know, I think Pujols being there, being kind of like the veteran guy, he's got chemistry with some of the other guys on the team already. I think it's a great story for the Cardinals this season.
Yeah.
The St. Louis Cardinals just are baseball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They are so baseball. It's a baseball town. So for them to bookend his career by bringing him back, I think it's awesome. And to see him have like some early success, you know, which is, they're not expecting him to do much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, any production that they're going to get out of him is really going to be a bonus. You know what I mean? So it's really fun to watch as a fan. I'm so happy that he's back in St. Louis. And he's one of the guys, like, I never really have problems with guys moving from team to team. But with him, for some reason, I always had trouble seeing him in another jersey.
I was saying that. That's
exactly always weird to me.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was saying. Like, when he returned to St. Louis in an Angels uniform and later in a Dodgers uniform, it just didn't feel right. Like,
yeah, it was something about it wasn't right to me too. So
yeah,
this is a great story.
Oh yeah.
And his little I don't know what you want to call it on the base pass was one of the most fun moments of the year so far too.
Are you talking about last night when he tried to steal the third?
Yeah,
Do
thought
you
you
know,
had to jump. Go ahead.
do you know? Because I saw that, I'm like, oh my god! You know what this reminds me of? You remember when Darren Ravel ran the 40-yard dash?
Oh my
That's what he
god!
looked like running.
Yeah, he ran like the.
He ran like Darren Ravel.
Yeah, it was like an 8-second 40 time. It was ridiculous.
When we're done here, go check out my Twitter. I posted the video after being like, because someone posted like, describe this in one word. I'm like, I'm gonna need two. Darren Ravel.
He looks like he's running in quicksand. Like he really does.
It was such an awkward run. Like, yeah, the dude's over 40. He's not like a speed guy. Never has been. But that was one of the worst stolen base attempts I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. He looked like he thought he had a jump on him, and then when the pitch wasn't delivered, it was like, oh shit, here
Yeah.
go well.
Woodruff's like, well, I got you. This is no problem for me.
Yeah, it was a fun moment. Good to see him have a sense of humor about it too. Everybody got a laugh out of it. So yeah, but it's one of the better stories. One of the better storylines early this year is him being back in St. Louis.
Yeah, I agree with what you said earlier, Brian, when you said like the St. Louis Cardinals are baseball. Usually when people try and name like any Major League Baseball team, I feel like the Cardinals are usually one of the first ones they mention.
There's a couple. I mean, to kind of piggyback on that statement, when you think of teams that are considered baseball, when you think of baseball, it's like the Cardinals, the Cubs, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Giants and Dodgers.
Yeah.
And after that, maybe you think like White Sox or Tigers or
Orioles
or Braves. Nobody thinks of the Orioles. The Orioles aren't
outside of Baltimore. Not many people
outside of Baltimore because they were originally the St. Louis Browns, so no one really thinks of them. You think of the teams that have been there for like a long time. I know the Braves are one of the teams that moved the most recently out of those, but they've been around for 100+ years. So you think of the teams that have been around for a long time. Those are the teams that are baseball. When you think of it, you think of iconic franchises, you think of iconic moments, and there's a good chance those teams are involved in one way or the other. For better or for worse.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I would love to go to Busch Stadium and see a Cardinals game.
Yeah, I've never been there, but it looks beautiful.
Yeah, I've not been there either. But sticking with baseball, sticking with New York, the team that is getting all the, I guess, positive headlines, not the Yankees, the Mets, they unveiled the Tom Seaver statue today before their home opener. And one thing I can say is, what the hell took so long?
That's a good point. Yeah, what did take them so long?
Who knows?
I mean, he should have had a statue 20 years ago. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, they're late to pull the strings on this one, but I guess tip of the cap for at least doing it now. But yeah, it feels like this is one of those games where it's like a game of destiny. The Tom Seaver statue is finally unveiled. Like it's a big moment for Mets history. So I expect them to come out energized and really play with some extra hustle today.
Yeah,
they're going to kick the shit out of the Diamondbacks today. Okay.
Yeah.
Especially because it is the Diamondbacks.
And the Diamondbacks suck. They stink. But
exactly.
The Mets are gonna beat them up pretty good. But it's a shame really when you think about the Tom Seaver statue that it couldn't have been unveiled while Tom Seaver was still with us. Unfortunately, he did pass. So
yeah.
Would have been nice he could have seen his own statue, but that's what happens when the Wilpons own the team for a long time. But Steve Cohen's here now. Uncle Stevie's making things right, and everything.
It's so weird that all the headlines surrounding the Mets right now are just like all so positive.
Yeah,
it feels like the Yankees under Steinbrenner, honestly.
Yeah, it's wild to see. We're so used to the Mets kind of being on the verge of chaos, like pretty much at all times.
I mean, I've talked about it before, but if you just Google Mets misery bracket, top to bottom, just chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Yeah, it's a franchise that has suffered. They've had really, really big moments that did not go their way. So,
yeah. But speaking with the Mets, they are the first team to have a COVID outbreak this year. This is Metsy. This is Metsy.
This is very Metsy.
Metsy
and Brandon Nimmo both test positive. Apparently, they are asymptomatic at this time, but they were in contact with a member of the coaching staff who did test positive as well. So
they will be out. Is there a timetable on that?
There's no timetable. There's no COVID timetable list this year either. So when you're test negative, you're back. So
right.
They could hypothetically be back for the next game if they test negative. But with testing positive, it adjusted their lineup a little bit. So
yeah,
they'll be all right. Want to see kind of how this goes through their clubhouse if it does, because this could have an impact early on.
Yeah.
If anything's going to derail how things are going now, COVID's always creeping around the corner. It's always there. And when we think it's gone, it seems to, rear its ugly neck again.
Right. I think we all picked the Mets to win the NL East on our preview show, if I remember correctly.
No, I picked the Braves.
Oh,
yeah.
I had the Mets as wild card one though, so
Gotcha.
No shade at the Mets. I just thought that the Braves were gonna have a good year.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. It's fair, honestly.
They were 1A, 1B.
Yeah, pretty much. Moving out to the West Coast, the Padres called up pitching prospect Mackenzie Gore to make his long-awaited debut. He was considered one of the higher-rated prospects in baseball just a couple years ago, and he's dealt with injuries and mechanical issues, which have basically derailed his career up to this point. And it's good to see him finally get to where he needs to be. Because you look at the Padres, they're a team that's filled with guys with mechanical issues in their pitching staff, so he kind of fits in with everybody else. You know, there is Yu Darvish, there is Mike Clevenger, and Chris Paddock was there, but he's gone now.
Sean
Sean Manaea is there now too, but he fits in with all of those guys, honestly.
Yeah, this does feel like a really good fit for them. It's good to see him come out on the other side of this injury thing that he's gone through. But yeah, the Padres, man, they're one of those teams that, like, if they can get everybody healthy and put it all together, like, super dangerous.
Yeah,
that's the thing, though. You said if they can get everybody healthy. That's the key word. If.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's been the key word with the Padres for the past few seasons. It's like, if they can do this, if they can do this, or it's like we keep waiting for them to fulfill their potential that's clearly right in front of them, and for whatever reason they keep missing their mark. So I don't know if you guys agree with me on this or not, but I feel like for their general manager, I don't remember his name off the top of my head. AJ Preller, thank you. I think this could be his last season if this fails again.
Maybe. It really depends on how they fail and how they don't reach expectations, honestly. If it's just bad roster construction, maybe not. But maybe if it's bad roster construction. If it's other things like Fernando Tatis getting into multiple motorcycle accidents, that's not really his fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we'll see how it all plays out, honestly. But
they're also a pretty good start in spite of everything. You know?
Yeah, and Yu Darvish got knocked around the other night, and he looked
right. But 5-3, not a terrible record.
5-3, you take that out of the game.
Oh, yeah. I know. I'm just saying, like, we've seen stuff like this with the Padres recently where they get off to a hot start. We think they're finally going to meet expectations, and then they just fail. So I'm starting to.
We'll see. I mean, there's going to be at some point a midseason trade of Eric Hosmer and Will Myers because they've been trying to get rid of those two clowns for years now. Okay, nobody wants those two guys, and they keep trying to be like, "Hey, we're going to offer you these guys here. How about this?" It's just like, no, nobody wants them. They're gonna like trade them for something. I don't know what it's going to be, but
watch the Dolans be stupid enough to trade for both of them.
No, they're not going to now. I mean, they can't afford either guy. Honestly, look at their contracts. Like, the only reason I threw that out with the Jose Ramirez thing, that was pre his extension. You know what I mean?
There were still trade rumors going around.
Yeah. So, and the Padres were interested. So it's just like, shit, they're gonna get crap. But you know what? Those two guys will end up on some stupid team, and they'll do okay. Like, you got to look at some teams going to get an injury to first base, and there goes Eric Hosmer into I don't know, the Tigers.
Right. Yeah, they'll end up elsewhere for sure, in my opinion. But what they're going to get in return is really, who knows? It's not going to be much, if you ask me, though. It's not. Yeah. Nobody wants to pick those two up in that situation.
Swap bad contracts.
It's not good from a business standpoint with those two guys. So it'll be interesting to see what they get back, if much at all.
All right, before we go to basketball conversation, any early season surprises baseball wise from you guys?
Guardians.
Let me look at the standings super quick.
While you're doing that, I will mention early season surprises for me. Some of the bats in the Mariners lineup completely struggling, kind of surprising to me. Jesse Winker has not done jack shit so far. And Julio Rodriguez is getting screwed on strike three calls that are a ball or two out of the zone.
Yeah, he's really got some close, tight calls, but he's got to see the plate better in the big league. So
he's getting the welcome to the bigs ruck treatment.
He really is. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say the Oakland A's right now being 4-3, 7 games into the season, because we all thought they were gonna be trash,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the Oakland A's. This is what they do. They dump off high salary guys. They find some other guys that are been thrown on the scrap heap, and they pick them up and they do this. I mean, if the Oakland A's somehow win 75 games this year, I wouldn't be surprised. This is Oakland A's baseball. But
the Cubs have surprised me. I didn't expect them to get off to as good of a start as they've got off to. But yeah, outside of that, surprising is I'd say Shohei struggling on the mound.
Yeah.
That's been really surprising to me. They're at 3-4. You know, it's kind of where they always are, hovering right around that 500 mark. Yeah. So that's a team that still has some question marks that need to be answered.
I know the Tigers are struggling a little bit right now to open the season, but I still think they can put it together. And like I said, I picked them to win the division. So
the Tigers are the Tigers. I don't know how else to say it. They have some upside, but I think their best days are in the future. It's not now. You look at Casey Mize, Matt Manning, Spencer Torkelson. Those are the guys that are going to be impactful players down the line. I mean, Javi Baez is going to have the torch passed to him as the leader of the team once Miguel Cabrera's gone, whenever that is. And they'll move on from there. I mean, sure, Eduardo Rodriguez was a big pickup for them for their rotation. But you look at their lineup, it's like, okay, there's some guys that can do some stuff, but I think they're going to be more fantasy baseball relevant than real Major League Baseball relevant.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that they're on their way somewhere, but they're not quite ready yet. But yeah, you look at how many runs have been scored against them. 36 runs. The only team in the division that's given up more is Kansas City because the Guardians absolutely exploded. Outside of that, they've given up 36 runs. The Guardians have only given up 22. The White Sox have only given up 19. Even better. And then the Twins have only given up 24. So the that's a 12-point gap between them and the Twins, So, it's the pitching has not been the best for them so far, and I don't see any reason why that's going to change.
Yeah, I will say my retort to that is it always seems to be that every year, no matter what sport, there always seems to be this team that you think is a year away, but yet they somehow figure it out and come up 1 year earlier, I guess is how, if that makes sense.
Ahead of schedule. Sometimes teams are ahead of schedule. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That happens a lot, but I just haven't seen it yet. It is really early in the year, so I will give you that. It's real early in the year, but yeah, as of now, I haven't seen anything from them yet.
Right?
We feel that way.
Yeah.
But,
I personally
the Guardians being the youngest team in baseball, it's pretty incredible what they're doing with this young of a roster. So it's a team that's a little bit ahead of schedule themselves.
Exactly. Like I said with Detroit, I like Casey Mize. Torkelson, I think, is going to play really well throughout the season. The veteran leadership of Miguel Cabrera. Baez, I think, is fitting in perfectly with them.
How about Miggy busting his ass to home plate on a fly ball to left field? Oh, that was
great.
Awesome.
That's a little bit of a lesson in base running for Albert Pujols that he should take some notes on.
Yeah, for sure. It was awesome to see him avoid the tag too and be so stoked. He was so excited to cross home plate there. But yeah, it's that's a guy where him being in Detroit, it's just he's always there and he's always going to produce to some level, So if he can recapture any of his old magic in Detroit, then yeah, maybe they'll get hot and make some noise. But as of right now, nothing to be too excited about this season.
So let me ask you this with Miguel Cabrera, because he won a World Series with the Marlins. So do you think when he goes into the Hall of Fame, because I think we all agree he's easily a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think he goes in as a Tiger or as a Marlin?
Tiger. Sure, he won a World Series early on in his career with the Marlins, but he's made all of his major accomplishments as a Tiger. He won MVPs as a Tiger. He got the Triple Crown as a Tiger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's as a Tiger.
Right. Also won World Series as a Tiger. So Yeah.
He hasn't won a World Series with the Tigers.
Oh no, that's right. He didn't get
Yeah.
one with them.
Yeah, they lost to the Cardinals in 2006.
That's right.
Yeah.
Damn, you're right. So yeah, his only World Series is with the Marlins. But yeah, every one of his major statistical accomplishments and career accomplishments came during time in Detroit. So yeah, it's Detroit. If you ask me, it's pretty obvious. I think that'll be where he retires.
I think it's landslide Tigers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we all know Albert Pujols is going to go in as a Cardinal. That's not even a question.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
But yeah,
for what it's worth, of his entire career, Miguel Cabrera has played, 15 of his 20 years in Detroit.
Yeah. So 75% of his, career has been spent in Detroit. So
Yeah, he's going in as a Tiger.
yeah. And not only that, but in his 5 years with the Marlins, his rookie year, he only played half a season too. So he only had four full seasons with the Marlins. So yeah, he's a Tiger.
Fair enough. All right. So
Cavs time.
yes, because it is win or go home tonight.
Wiener go home. That's what I heard. Wiener
Could
go
be dollar
home.
dog night.
Well played, Turk.
I
Well
am
played.
decked out in Cavs stuff. I even have Cavalier socks.
Oh wow, that's
The lucky socks. They're the lucky socks.
Hopefully. We are going against Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. So, yeah, I'm not excited about that matchup. But I'll tell you what, with Tuesday's game, I was not expecting us to win against Brooklyn. But I didn't think we were going to keep it that close either. There were points in that game where Brooklyn was up 20. And I'm like, oh, we're going to get steamrolled tonight.
We kind of did though. Like we got it close for moments, but like we really got dominated that whole game.
Brooklyn owned that game. That game, the scoreboard lies in that game, honestly, because the Nets were up by so much they didn't have to really work as hard or try as hard. It was run out the clock time. It wasn't like if they had their starters in, they would have won like by 50. Okay, but like they didn't. You saw them relax. You saw them take, fall off the gas. I mean, the final score is not indicative of what that game really was. Brooklyn owned that game from start to finish.
Yeah, there was never any doubt that they were going to win, and that's why I agree with what James is saying. Like, I don't think that their victory was ever in question, even when it did get as close as 7 points. Nobody was going, oh, they actually have a chance of winning this thing. Like, it was more like, oh, well,
yeah,
here they are.
I mean,
but Brooklyn had a bunch of their stars on the bench and, had taken their foot off the gas. So it's kind of garbage time in numbers a little bit.
right.
Yeah, like the Cavs made a run and their run was done. And that's like, okay, now it's our turn.
Yep.
Yeah.
We survived the best we had to give them and then answered right back, So.
And I mean, the most obvious reason why we lost is because the Nets have two superstar players in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And I would say Darius Garland is on his way to being an all-star caliber player. Yes, he got an all-star game appearance this season, but I don't think having one all-star game appearance officially makes you an all-star caliber player.
You got 2 for Trae Young.
Okay,
What?
well, either way, there's a difference between all-star caliber and superstars.
Exactly.
Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are elite players.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
We
Trae
don't
Young's
have
like
anybody that's that tier.
I'll
Correct.
say Trae Young's a star, but not a superstar.
I wasn't saying anything about Trae Young.
We're talking about the Cavs.
Oh.
And
We haven't got to the Hawks yet.
yeah, we haven't got to the Hawks yet. You're ahead of us a little bit today.
Yeah. So, but Darius Garland, he's a really good player. I'd say he's an ascending player, obviously. If you're looking star, superstar, I like the good, great scale instead of star, superstar. He's good, not great. Okay.
Yeah.
He's on his
All
way
right.
to great. He's not there yet.
Yeah. And then the other reason why I think we lost, we got like nothing from Isaac Okoro. We got,
I mean,
something
You're never
from
going to get
Karis.
much from him offensively.
Right. We got something from Karis LeVert. I think he had like 12 points. But then coming off the bench, Chetty Osman gave us 0.
It's because Chetty Osman stinks. He stinks.
Yeah.
He's the Rashard Higgins of the Cavs. He stinks.
Hey,
depth was an issue with this team, and with the injuries that we had, we were really shallow. You know what I mean? So yeah, when you got guys like Chetty Osman getting significant minutes in a significant game, that's not good. So that's where I'm at with it.
I stand corrected. It was Isaac Okoro that had 0, and Chetty Osman only gave us 2.
Okay, well, neither really matters at the end of the day with the amount of points, because like Isaac Okoro, I'm not looking for his offensive numbers. Sure, people are like, look, he's improving, he's developing. Like, okay, cool, but like we can't like count on him in big moments at this moment in time. He's a guy that, yeah, maybe he takes the next step next year, but seeing what he did this year against crap teams or against teams that aren't playing all of their best players, I'm not really like saying like, yes, this guy's got it. Again, it comes down to player evaluation and the way that you do it. You don't say what he can do. You tell me what he can't do. What can't he do? He cannot be a consistent shooter. He's not a consistent scorer, and he's not a consistent player down near the basket.
Yeah. And
I mean, he's like a defensive utility player, you know?
Right.
He's Tayshaun Prince. I've been saying it since he got drafted. He's Tayshaun Prince.
I think that's a very, very fair comparison. For him.
I would say that's a good comparison.
My guess is tonight he's going to be the primary defender of Trae.
Isaac Okoro?
I don't think so.
I don't know if he'll be on the court enough.
There's that, and I think Trae Young's too quick for Okoro, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think they'll put on Trae Young? Then
they'll probably put Darius Garland and have their defense do some sort of maybe zone types technique, where if he tries to go left, there's a guy that comes up and doubles him up, makes him pass. If he goes right, the guy doubles him up, makes him pass to somebody else. Make the other guys on the team beat them, because here's the thing. If you have a single defender on Trae Young, you're going to lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Trae Young's going to get his. I think that the approach tonight might be just to mitigate damage elsewhere. You know, don't let the other supporting cast members have big games. You know
like
what I mean?
Kevin Herter, Danilo Gallinari, Clint Capella.
You don't want those guys having big games. You know.
No.
So yeah, I don't think that there's going to be enough focus on Trae defensively to justify putting Okoro up against him for significant minutes, if that makes sense.
Fair. But Jared Allen is going to try and play tonight against Atlanta. So I think that at least helps us, because we can get back to our normal starting lineup, which go ahead, Jerk.
No, I was just saying, coming off an injury, that's the only concern I have. But otherwise, if he could play, just like he doesn't even have to score that many points. We just need him as a rim protector the whole game.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this. When we made the Karis LeVert trade, I would have changed the starting lineup immediately. I would have had kept the same backcourt, Garland and Okoro, but I would have taken Lowry Markkanen out of the starting lineup, put LeVert in, and then kept the same starting front court.
Well, you have that backwards, because LeVert's a guard. He's not a forward or a wing. So you'd put Okoro at the forward position. You would have LeVert in the backcourt.
Okay.
Okay, because Okoro was just playing the two position because there was nobody else to play it.
And also,
remember at the beginning of the season, it was Colin Sexton. Then it was they still wanted to keep Ricky Rubio off the bench, so they just threw Okoro there because they needed somebody. They even tried Chetty Osman at times, and that was a disaster. But it's been a rotating position. It hasn't been one that's been solidified, and I think LeVert in that spot is better than Okoro.
That's a fair argument, actually.
Fair argument.
Yeah. I know you and Brian are both picking the Hawks to win tonight. You made that very clear in our group chat.
I do think the Hawks win. Honestly, I do.
I'm disagreeing with you on that one, James. I think the Cavs are going to do it.
Yeah,
I'm thinking the Cavs are going to do it. But here's what I'm looking at. This is one of those moments in time when you look at and it's when the superstar comes and he has the great performance that puts the team over the top. Okay. There's one team in this game that has a superstar, and it's not the Cavs. Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's Trae Young. I get it.
It's
He
Trae
plays
Young.
big in big games too. He shows up in big games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is true.
And here's another thing. And let's look at the season series between the Cavs and the Hawks. Okay, they played 4 times. The Cavs lost 3 times. Okay, they won the first game. Then their next 3 games were lost by significantly larger margins each time. It went from 3 points to 8 to 24.
Yeah, and the Cavs, they covered well against most of the league, but their games against Atlanta, they were not even close. So yeah, the regular season matchups we've had are kind of what has me concerned about this game, because we just haven't played them well. But I will say this: I didn't expect the Cavs to be here at all. So
Yeah,
I think it would be foolish for me to say there's no chance.
Right.
I mean, there's always a chance when it's one game.
Yeah.
It's 48 minutes. Like, a lot can happen. Good teams lose to bad teams every year in the NBA. It happens a few times a season. It's part of the game. So, like, yeah, there's a chance Trae Young's ice cold and they have a really off night and we advance. And that would be great. But my problem is, where do we go from there? Because when you look at who you're going to be matched up against, we don't stand a chance.
No, I'm not. Even if we win tonight, even though I'm a diehard Cavs fan, I'm a realistic fan at the same time. Like, I don't think we would upset Miami in the first round. No way. But do I think we would get swept against the Heat? No. I think we could actually push that series to 5 or 6 games.
I could see 5. Yeah, we might get a win out of that group of games, but I wouldn't see them taking it 7 for sure.
Oh, no, that's why I said 5 or 6.
Yeah, 5 or 6 maybe.
Right now, I'm looking at the odds on the ESPN app. Atlanta's favored by 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and I think part of the reason the odds went down, because Atlanta, I think at one point was favored by 3, and then it was 2.5, is because Jared Allen is going to attempt to play tonight, which enhances our chances. At least,
is he?
That's honestly, Jared Allen is going to try and give it a go tonight. But what that line shift really means is
all the money was coming in on the other side.
It's the money. It's the money. So when you look at the lines, look at the first line and look at the line right before the game starts. Don't follow the lines in between, because that's when people get messed up. Yep. When the lines shift like that, just like a half point or maybe a point, that's because the money is getting placed heavily on one team and the books are trying to cover their asses. Okay?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. He's got that right. And then you also have to account for the fact that the Cavs are the home team here. And you get 3 points for being the home team. That's pretty much it's the unwritten rule of gambling in basketball and football. You get 3 points for being the home team. So when you look at the spread,
a few times,
so basically they're calling this a 5-point to 8-point game. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't think it's as close as the spread indicates, but yeah, like I said, we have a chance, but I like Atlanta in this one.
No way.
Nope.
I'm also taking Atlanta.
You guys aren't real Cavs fans.
This isn't about fandom, Chirk. This is about being objective. I look at the way the Cavs played down the stretch. I look at the way that when teams actually started trying, how the Cavs performed. They're trending downward. It's not about fandom. It's about objective.
Yeah,
objective view says the Cavs have been on a steady decline since before the All-Star break. All right, they declined. That doesn't matter. Every team has injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the Hawks.
This is very. I mean, this is very. We kind of called this for before the All-Star break. We said this was going to happen. There's going to be a regression. There's no way that this team, with these young players and the injuries that did end up coming, that you can maintain the level of success that they were having. So it was always going to happen. This was always
right.
I understand. And I think that finishing as a as where we did in the play-in tournament is right where we should be, really,
Right.
realistically. So,
And I understand what your reasoning, Brian. For me, the injuries have to be taken into consideration, but I do understand that every team has to go through them. Not every team handles them. I don't want to say correctly because maybe that's not the right word, but
some teams are deeper than others. Some
correct.
teams, some
The
teams.
Cavs are not a deep team. They're not.
Right. And when
Exactly.
they're not a deep team, even if they were a higher seed, this isn't a deep team. You know, you have to look at a 7-game series realistically and ask, how much can you get out of a guy like Chetty Osman and Lauri Markkanen and these guys that are in there, you know, and realistically, as a sports analyst on a sports show, picking the Cavs, it just doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? But I'm rooting for the Cavs. Yeah. I want the Cavs to win.
Yeah.
I want the Cavs to win, and I want them to sweep Miami in 4. But
you want them to go to the finals?
You know, just because I'm a fan and I want it to happen doesn't mean that I believe it's going to happen.
Right.
You know? So.
And trust me, I totally get what you're saying. And to a certain extent, I do agree with you. Like, am I showing that I'm a diehard Cavs fan today? Yeah. But at the same time, I'm going to be objective and realistic. I know that Atlanta has Trae Young, and they have other guys, Bojan Bogdanovic. I think that's how you say his name. They have Kevin Huerter, Danilo Gallinari, Clint Capella. They have like other guys that can beat you, but I feel like if you can control Trae Young to a certain extent, that gives you a chance, and I think the Cavs are going to be able to do that.
I don't. I don't.
Yeah, that's just where we see things a little bit differently.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about let's say comparing injuries to injuries, I mean, the injuries that the Hawks have are not like insignificant injuries. I mean, they still don't have Lou Williams, they don't have John Collins, Bogdanovic. He is going to game time decision, but either way, I still think the Hawks are the better team in this matchup, even without those guys. If all three of those guys don't play, I think that they're the better team here.
That's a fair assessment. I'll give you that.
Yeah, if Jared Allen plays, it'll be interesting. If he's 100%, you know, there's a lot of variables there. So,
correct.
But you know what? For my money, if I had to put it somewhere, I'm taking the Hawks -2.
I would too. That's
You have valid reason to do so.
I'm not going to, but I would.
He's got his money on the Mets game right now. Is what he's got his money on.
Yeah, I'm looking at that Tom Seaver statue unveiling and all of the stars aligning, and Frankie a hit. He'll probably have 4 home runs today.
It's in the cosmos, damn it.
Yeah, he might go 6 for 5 today.
Yes.
In what world? Brian's world?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mets world is where it's going to happen. Mets world.
But yeah, one of the better teams to bet on right now is the New York Mets. They have been beating the odds makers throughout the season so far. So yeah, it's been a fun team to have some money on.
So let's talk about the other playing game, Pelicans Clippers.
Clippers should roll tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, how the Pelicans even in this? That's my question.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too.
Hey, they could be a dark horse.
Who, the Pelicans?
Yeah, it's interesting. The line is even on this game, which is crazy to me. So I'm definitely going to. Yeah, that's what ESPN has it at even.
Yeah,
Paul George is out, so that could be why.
Yeah, that's got to have that's a lot to do with it.
I mean,
is it just because the Clippers are so just fucked right now with injuries? Kawhi Leonard,
I
out?
guess.
George out.
If New
Then
Orleans
the Pelicans could win. I guess they could win. They shouldn't.
I don't see this. I'm putting money on LAC here. I think this is a good bet. I think it's a safe bet tonight. Gosh, yeah, I like that a lot.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't understand that either. Maybe it's the overvaluation of Paul George or an undervaluation of the rest of the team, but That's surprising to me because the ESPN matchup predictor index thing, which I don't understand how the fuck that works or if it's even real. But for all intents and purposes, usually it's in line with the Vegas odds a little bit,
Yeah.
Like if it's an even line, it's hovering at about 50, 51% matchup predictor. This one's at 73% Clippers.
Really? Their starting lineup's going to be Reggie Jackson, Norman Powell, Marcus Morris, Nicholas Batum, and Ivica Zubats. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What part of that says 73% in favor of winning this game?
Yeah. Good Lord.
I mean,
granted, I don't know what the Pelicans starting lineup is, but I do know that the Clippers are going to be without two of their best players on their entire team.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if the Clippers win, will they beat the Suns in the first round? No, but they can at least.
This is the get swept, but this is the Suns in 4 Invitational, is what this is. Okay, shout out that guy.
Shout out that guy. He had a moment in the sun. I didn't mean that, but it happened. So
you don't think the Clippers can make the series at least interesting against Phoenix?
No, it's the Suns in 4 Invitational.
Mm-hmm. I think the Suns are far and away the best team over there. So.
Oh yeah,
God, this lineup sucks for the Pelicans. The only guy worth the damn is CJ McCollum, who I forgot is on the Pelicans.
If New Orleans wins this game, Phoenix is going to win every game by like 30.
Mm-hmm.
So it's CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Herbert Jones, Jackson Hayes, Jonas Valanciunas. That is the Pelicans starting 5.
Good Lord.
Good God, that is
not bad.
terrible.
Larry Nance Jr. coming off the bench with Devontae Graham. Is some other guys. Oh, Tony Snell's on this team, apparently.
My goodness. Who's going to watch this game?
That guy.
Nope. No,
I'm
they-
watching
I don't know who's going to watch this game. This just sounds like a JV team. It's like a JV team of the NBA.
That playing game between San Antonio and the Pelicans was like two ugly girls fighting.
What?
What?
What the fuck did you just say?
What just happened?
Anywho.
Side note, I got the Mets game on the TV behind me, and Travis Jankowski just walked by. I'm like, is that Noah Syndergaard? Oh, wait, no, he's on the Angels now. They got similar flow.
Respect the flow. There's a lot of guys with some good hair in the MLB right now.
Yeah.
Most of them pitchers too, which I don't understand the correlation there, but it's interesting.
I mean, the other day the Guardians did knock around Dollar General Mike Clevenger.
He's the wish.com Mike Clevenger for sure.
Yeah.
Was that Scott Barlow? Is that who that was, or was that the other guy?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
It doesn't matter.
I just call him Dollar General Mike Clevenger because he kind of looks like Mike Clevenger, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So final thoughts on the playing game here.
I got the Clippers.
Clippers.
But I don't particularly care about this game, and whoever wins this game is going to get knocked around by the Suns, so it don't matter.
Yeah. Clippers by 20.
Thoughts. Clippers by 20. I like that.
Easy.
What do you got, Shirk?
I got Clippers.
Clippers. Okay. Let's move on. We had someone put out their NFL GM power rankings. This is Greg Rosenthal over at NFL.com.
Wait, you don't want to talk about the rest of the NBA playoffs?
We can. If you want, we can talk about some of these other games.
I mean, you had that on the rundown.
It's fine. Let's do that. Then we'll get to the NFL. Let's talk about these other matchups here.
Sure.
So for me, actually, the most obvious one to say like I'm most intrigued about is Nets Celtics, but I'm actually looking at that Raptors 76ers series. Because Matisse Thybulle, he got the first vaccine, but he forgot to get the second one. So
yeah, he's not allowed into Canada, so he will not be present for the games in Toronto.
Correct. And for some reason, the Raptors match up really well with the 76ers. I don't know why, but when I've watched their games, I've just been like, dang, Philadelphia is having a hard time with them. So, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm picking the Raptors to upset the 76ers.
Ooh, okay. That's
That's
bold.
spicy.
Spicy pick. I'm going with Philly. I think that they get through this series relatively easily.
I'm also going with Philly because Embiid and Harden are going to average like 40 free throws a game, and that will make the difference. The teams that get to the line and make the free throws are the teams that win.
Yep.
I'm going Philly too.
All right, so I'll go on my own island.
I mean, yeah, that's what you're doing. It's just, I look at Toronto, and even without having Matisse Thybulle in their lineup, it doesn't really make a difference for me because whether they win or not is going to be dependent on Embiid and Harden. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
he's not as impactful as a player as they're kind of making him out to be here, in my opinion.
yeah.
You guys hear? Speaking of James Harden, did you guys hear about what he was saying the other day? Like, I feel no pressure in that whole thing.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of his comments. I don't know. It didn't really rub me one way or the other. It was kind of like meh to me.
I'm with you, meh.
Yeah, I don't think they were like as controversial or anything as people are making them out to be. But I mean, I see the argument there. I see why people think that Harden should have all this pressure and that he hasn't produced to his ability level and all that. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm just not really buying it.
Yeah, I get that. I think there is a lot of pressure, though, on Harden, partially because of what you were saying, but because he's, missed out. He's come up short in the big games where he's needed to come up large, but also, he's forced his way out of two teams, Houston and then Brooklyn, and think about what Philadelphia had to give up in order to get James Harden.
A player that wasn't playing and a pile of crap.
Yeah.
The Sixers won out in that trade. Okay.
Yeah. Was playing on his cell phone during practices, and it was just a disaster.
I'm not even talking about the Ben Simmons part of it. I'm talking about Seth Curry. When he hasn't been injured, he's played well for Brooklyn. Andre Drummond's been a good acquisition for them, giving them
a bench 3-point shooter and a backup center. I mean, that doesn't do anything for me. I like Andre Drummond. I think he gets a lot of shit for no reason. I think he's a very productive player. But if we're talking who gave up what and who gave up more, the Nets gave up more. Yeah, and it's not even close.
I mean, James Harden, in my opinion, is one of the most creative and able scorers that the league's ever seen.
That part I don't disagree with you about.
Super crafty.
So, when you look at his production as opposed to the guys that you mentioned, just from a production standpoint, it's not even close. But yeah, I do like those pieces for Brooklyn. I like Seth Curry and I like Andre Drummond for them. But yeah, I just think that the notion that that's more than the Brooklyn gave up at Harden, that's crazy to me.
I'm not saying that Brooklyn gave up more.
I don't even think they gave up a lot.
Yeah,
I really don't. I mean, you look at from Philly, they got rid of two bench players and a guy who wasn't playing. That's perfect for Brooklyn because you know what they needed? They needed bench guys.
Yeah,
it works out for them. And Philly gets a starting player to actually play with Embiid, okay? Because the other guys that they've thrown out there just haven't worked. Ben Simmons and Embiid didn't work. Markelle Fultz was a disaster. Then you look at all the other guys that they've been in, Jimmy Butler, the corpse of Tobias Harris. What are they doing? James Harden and Embiid, this is their best chance. This is it for Philly.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ben Simmons, I've actually heard that there's a chance he could play in this first round series against Boston.
I've heard that too.
Who knows? I mean, here's what I'm basing this off of. My opinion on whether he plays or not, or if he plays at the beginning, is that the first poster that was posted in Brooklyn for the Brooklyn Nets had a very prominent picture of Ben Simmons. Then once they advanced past the play-in round, Ben Simmons finally, apparently took a very, very large backseat to everybody else on the roster. So his availability to me does not point in the likely trajectory.
it wouldn't make much sense for them to try to bring him back this quickly. I don't know. That it's always everything's going according to the plan, the way that they wanted it to go, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they're saying, "Well, maybe we're going to play him," and it's like I just don't understand where this change of plan has come from. You know what I mean?
It doesn't
Make a lot of sense to me. But what do you guys think about that series, though? The Nets in Boston. That's a crazy series.
Yeah, I think it continues the rivalry that's building between the Nets and Celtics because, in my opinion anyway, I think there's a rivalry there.
I mean, kind of. They're in the same division, aren't they?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think Brooklyn's probably like the best 7 seed of all time.
Oh, yeah.
And I do think that they're going to give the Celtics some problems. I'm not a big Celtics guy. I really don't believe in this version of the Celtics. I don't think that they have the right guys to actually make a deep run. I do think they could beat Brooklyn, but I'm not confident that they will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I like this Boston team a lot, but I also like this Nets team a lot too. Yeah, I don't know. This one can go either way for me. Boston's obviously got home court advantage, and that's going to give them a little bit of an edge there. But yeah, I look for the Nets to be the Nets. A lot of production out of Kyrie and Durant, and I don't know that Jason Tatum is that guy. You know what I mean?
You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy.
Yeah. So that's my thought on it. I think that there's a very good chance that Brooklyn wins this series, but I don't know. I'm up in the air. This is a coin toss for me, honestly. I think this is a series that I hope goes 7 games because I think it's going to be a good one.
That'd be nice.
It's interesting that you say that you don't know if Jason Tatum is that guy. I share that sentiment. I think this series will show us whether he is that guy or not. Like,
yeah.
It's a first round series. They're going up a really good Brooklyn team early on. That the Nets are on an upward trajectory right now. So I don't know if it's gonna prove anything either way in regards to Jason Tatum. I think Tatum's a good, not great player. Okay, That's where I sit. That's where I settle on him. Yeah, great moments, sure, but overall he's good, not great. As far as who's win this series, I probably go 55-45 Brooklyn.
I'm going with Boston in this series, but to echo what you were saying, Brian, like we're gonna really find out if Jason Tatum is that guy. Like, is he? Because he's gonna be matched up with Kevin Durant. So
he's got a chance. I like my prediction for him is that he's not. I don't think that he is. I don't think that he can go toe to toe with Durant and come out on top.
Yeah.
But I'm like 51-49 Nets over Boston. Like no faith in it whatsoever. I don't know. I could see this one going either way. I could see the Nets sweeping, but I could also see Boston winning in 5 games. So you know what I mean? It's like it could go either way. It's I think it's the best matchup out of the bunch, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, which is strange.
This feels like an Eastern Conference Finals caliber matchup, not a first round series caliber matchup.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Like James is right. At the end of the day, even if he has a great series, so what? He won 1 playoff series. But I do agree with you, Josh. I think that this is a matchup that could have very well happened, in the finals had both teams, been healthy throughout the season and what have you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that it's a better matchup than we typically get from a 2 versus 7. But yeah, it's not going to be enough to like cement any kind of legacy for him if he gets through Brooklyn and then lays an egg in the next series. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. Talking about that other 2-7 matchup in the West, Memphis and Minnesota, I think that's going to be a fantastic series. I think in the out of the Western Conference first round series, that's the one I'm personally most excited about. I just think you got Ja Morant against Anthony Edwards. I know they may not match up directly against each other, but you have that matchup. You have Desmond Bane against D'Angelo Russell. You got Jaren Jackson against Karl Anthony Towns. Patrick Beverley's going to be a factor in this series. Steven Adams is has become a solid player for me. Grizzlies are 20-2 without Ja Morant, which in some people's eyes hurts his case for MVP. But I firmly have him in the discussion, but still.
So you really think this is going to be a competitive series, though?
Yes, I think it's going the full 7 games.
I don't. I think Minnesota stinks.
Yeah, I think that if there's any series that's going to end in a sweep, this one's the most likely for me.
Really?
I really just think the Grizzlies are good. They're a really good team. They've done it from start to finish throughout the year. You know, they've had some hiccups and some injuries that they were, you know, able to overcome. You mentioned the record they had without their best player, which is incredible. So yeah, I think that this is a really good Memphis Grizzlies team. They have home court advantage. They're opening up as, you know, they opened up as 8-point. They're down to 7 points, but you know, that's a money thing. But yeah, I think that they're going to be heavy favorites in every game of this series.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the Timberwolves and you look at him and it's like you're making that comment about Jason Tatum about whether or not he's going to be that guy. I think we already know Karl Anthony Towns is not that guy.
Yeah.
Okay?
How do you foul out with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter?
Because he's a center who's terrible defensively. That's how. Okay.
Yeah. He does a lot of really impressive things for a big man offensively, but defensively, yeesh.
Yeah,
he's not the guy. He's the beta to whatever version of a team where he's the winner. He ends up winning it all. Okay, he's not going to be the alpha guy. He's got to be the beta guy. I don't think he's mentally ready to accept that. Okay,
Probably.
He could be the Sigma guy. The lone wolf.
But we look at this. I mean, I just see Minnesota. I'm like, okay, Minnesota. Thanks for coming out. Same.
I think they're lucky to be where they're at, and I like the Grizzlies to handle them.
I did not like the Timberwolves post-game celebration after they won. They acted like they won the damn championship.
I don't care. It's much ado about nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm all for celebrating. Like, as somebody who played sports, like, it's so hard to get those moments, you know? So if that moment meant that much to them, I'm not going to hold it. Yeah, like, good for them, you know? But I also understand people who are like, you know, if that was like LeBron would never celebrate like that over that win, but they're not LeBron. Nobody on that team is LeBron. You know what I mean? It's a lot of young guys and a potential superstar, but nothing yet, you know? So you know, I don't really care. Good for them for celebrating, in my opinion. But I think it also speaks to the fact that they might know that they overplayed their hand a little bit. You know what I mean? Like by celebrating that much, they're kind of saying like, oh, well, you know, this was a good achievement for us, but this is probably where it ends.
It is.
Oh, I'm not picking Minnesota to win the series despite it going the full 7 games. I'm still picking Memphis, but I think it will be a really competitive and real, for me personally, I want it to be a really fun and exciting series because these are 2 young teams that I think Minnesota has a lot of potential. Beverly continues to stay there. I like what they have with D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards. I agree with you, James, that Karl Anthony Towns is not the alpha. But I just think Memphis is, in the end, is going to have a little too much, but I think we're going to get several close games.
Well, I hope you're right.
Personally. Anyway, you wanted to move on to NFL GM power rankings?
Yeah, let's move on to that. Greg Rosenthal over at NFL.com put together some NFL GM power rankings here. And, you know, very interesting list, very controversial list. Since I have a feeling none of you guys have looked at this, and that's fine, I want you to guess where he has Andrew Berry.
It's like 8.
10.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Brian and say 10.
Sure.
8.
You're all wrong. It's lower.
15.
5.
You're going the wrong way, Brian. Lower.
Oh, lower. Okay. 15.
Lower.
32.
No, he's not 32. They have him as 18. He has him as 18. Here's his reasoning.
Berry is lower in a good way.
Barry is hard to rank in this exercise after the Browns' pursuit of Deshaun Watson. They gave up everything to get their quarterback, picks, guaranteed money, integrity. The entire Browns brain trust who showed up for Watson's introductory press conference appeared shaken, finally out of their bubble, responding to some pointed questions with conveniently vague answers. That's what that answer was, okay? Like, what is this? This is just some guy who just wants to throw a hissy fit. And this guy, I don't know anything about Greg Rosenthal. He's probably a Baker bro for all I know, okay?
Probably.
Like, here's the deal. Any team that would have acquired Watson would have been criticized for the same thing, money, integrity, whatever, okay? But, like, what are we doing here? Like, is Andrew Berry the perfect GM? No. Is he 18th in the league? Also no. He's closer to 10 than 20. Mm-hmm. I think he's done some good things. I think he's done some bad things.
Who is number one?
What was that?
Who is number one?
Number one is Brandon Beane / Sean McDermott of the Buffalo Bills.
Interesting.
2 is Les Snead of the Los Angeles Rams. Funny how giving up picks and money doesn't come into factor there. Number 3, Kevin Colbert. Number 4, Brian Gutekunst.
Why?
Jason Light. Number 6, Brett Veach / Andy Reid. 7,
this guy's a clown. This guy's a clown if he has Gutekunst up there. Get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
8, Duke Tobin, Cincinnati Bengals. 9, Tom Telesco, Los Angeles Chargers. Number 10, Bill Belichick, New England Patriots.
What is wrong?
Belichick being number 10 on any list for coaching anything is asinine to me.
Yeah. But what did Gutekunst do to get inside the top 5?
Would you like to hear his number 4, Brian Gutekunst? All he does is win, 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 no matter what. Apparently, we're starting off with a terrible rap lyric. The selection of Matt LaFleur as a head coach has been a home run. This has nothing to do with Matt LaFleur. This is all Aaron Rodgers. I can't believe people are still falling into this trap. Besides the Jordan Love year, Guti, as he called him, has been an excellent drafter, starting with his very first pick of the job, Jair Alexander. Green Bay has also received massive contributions from free agents with Devondre Campbell and Rasul Douglas. Managing personality is also part of the gig, and he called me Aaron Rodgers, blah, 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 blah. This is all some bullshit. This is Aaron Rodgers. Has nothing to do with Brian Gutekunst. Let's be real here.
So did this guy just forget that they traded Devontae Adams?
I don't know. This is just some bullshit is what this is.
This is
the power rankings. Okay. Like, again, I don't think Andrew Berry is a great GM. I think he's probably average, closer to good in his performance so far. He's made some questionable decisions roster-wise. His drafting has been better than his free agents. But is it more Stefanski draft or Berry draft? A lot of these guys, I think, are probably more Stefanski picks than Berry picks.
Right.
When you look at Harrison Bryant, Nick Harris, and we'll see what they do next in the upcoming draft. JOK, that was an obvious Berry pick. Good for him. That was a fantastic selection.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at their free agent signings; there's been a lot of misses. I mean, Malik McDowell, Malik Jackson, Tack McKinley.
Yeah.
Carl Joseph.
Yeah, he leaves a lot to be desired in the free agent department. But drafting, yeah, he has been one of the better GMs in my opinion. So
I think this person is just mad because he had some, I guess, perception of what Andrew Berry was, and then he realized Andrew Berry is not some PFF draft nerd. He got all pissed and threw a hissy fit.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It's what it sounds like because they used to be all in on him, and then he starts going against the grain a little bit, and now all of a sudden he's 18th.
Yeah, like I'm sure if they didn't acquire Deshaun Watson, Berry would be like 3rd on this list.
Okay? Right, and it's like, does one player a GM make? Even if it is a player as big as Deshaun Watson, no, in my opinion, like.
And we talked about Deshaun Watson at the time, like every team that acquired him. Would have gotten some sort of blowback, but it feels like the Browns have gotten the most out of all the teams that have acquired him.
Yeah, and here's the fact of the matter is when he was found, not to be criminally liable for any of this. He was going to end up playing on an NFL team again somewhere, no matter what.
Exactly.
Once that happened, he was going to end up somewhere, no matter what. So, like, you know, the holier than thou thing with this, like Andrew Berry sacrificing whatever integrity, I don't buy that. You know what I mean?
I don't either.
I don't think that it's fair, honestly.
Yeah, it's not there.
And I wonder. I don't know. I wonder if Andrew Berry wasn't a person of color too, if he would be a little more friendly to him on this list too.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? Because some of the people on top of that list, I don't think are worthy of being there, and some of the representatives that, you know, are people of color, I think deserve to be much higher on that list. So that's something that might be worth asking this gentleman if it played a part in his rankings. You know,
that's fair, because 22nd was Ron Rivera and Martin Mayhew.
Jesus Christ!
Like, Martin Mayhew was a disaster in Detroit. Let's be fair, he was.
Yeah, in Detroit, sure, but
it seemed to be okay in Washington.
Yeah.
In spite of all of the chaos surrounding that organization, you know.
Right. Do you think that partially Andrew Berry got placed 18th because of the whole Baker Mayfield situation?
Oh, a lot of it has to do with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield still has a lot of fans in the media, and, you know, a lot of people that cover football. He still has a lot of fans. I don't know why, but, like, he still does.
I have a theory.
I'm ready.
I think it's because Baker has enemies within the media who have been very open and public about their dislike and disagreement towards each other. And I think that a lot of people in the media have those same people on their list of people they don't like. You know,
that's
people,
fair.
I write better than this guy, or, you know, I make better, whatever. So that's what this feels like a little bit to me too. So, but that's just a theory. Just throwing that out there.
He's always had
the enemy of your enemy is your friend, is the saying that I'm getting at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think some people team up with Baker because they share a mutual dislike for a guy like Colin Cowherd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think, like, the Baker situation, though, like, this is all Baker Mayfield's doing. You know what I mean? Like, everything surrounding this situation could have been avoided had he handled things like an adult and like a professional.
I mean, he's a man child, Baker.
Yeah, I don't hold that against Andrew Berry. Like, why is that Andrew Berry's fault that Baker Mayfield's a diva? You know what I mean?
Granted, I don't care for Tony Grossi, but, like, doing the whole Jesus Tony thing in the post-game press conference was a bad look. Yeah. Like, I thought it was funny because, again, I really don't care for Tony Grossi. I think he's very brash. I think he's very elitist. Okay, and he has no business being elitist. Okay, but there's a time and place. Post-game press conference with cameras is not time and place. He goes and gets in Twitter fights with people, and he subtweets people, and he picks on Mary Kay Cabot, calling her articles clickbait when it turns out to be entirely true. Okay?
Why is everybody okay with him attacking a female journalist in that way too? You know,
because Baker Mayfield's my quarterback. That's why.
That should be under a microscope more than it is.
It really
regardless of what you think of Mary Kay Cabot and her reporting, she's a pro's pro, like a professional by every stretch of the imagination, and uber qualified. So
100%.
The way that, like, everybody, like, let him make these kind of borderline misogynistic and, like, threatening comments towards her, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why everybody was okay with that. It was, like, to me, that was shocking.
It's because they ride with six. That's why.
Yeah, it's just like it's a cult now. I'm sorry,
the Baker Mayfield cult.
Yeah,
the Baker Bros.
Baker Bros they're a cult.
I got to raise my hand. I was part of it for some point in time.
Hey, I used to fight for Baker too at the beginning of last football season.
I can't really deny the fact that I was part of it.
Yeah, I was a Baker fan at one point, but
I was guilty of falling into the hype train because of the postseason success and me never experiencing that in my lifetime. Exactly. You know, and a lot of people did, to be fair.
Yeah, I was thinking he was the next big thing for a minute.
I love how James is just like smirky over there, like, hi.
But wait, guys, he could still no, probably not.
No.
If you guys go back and watch like the first couple episodes, I was even on the show with you guys because it was the beginning of football season. Like I kind of went toe to toe with James a little bit, being devil's advocate and just trying to, you know what I mean. But like I fought for Baker, I went to bat for him. So like I don't think that like my dislike for Baker is unwarranted or unfair or whatever, or that I've been a hater the whole time. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've never been a Baker hater by any means.
I mean,
but I've been a hater of the way that he's behaved, and now I'm a hater of the situation he's landed our football team.
The only way you could turn around is by like saying that, hey, this is what I'm doing is bad, and own up to everything.
Well,
Yeah,
so
that's the only way I could see him being better.
Well, here's the problem. He's not going to do that.
That's the problem. Yeah.
In case of point, his podcast appearance, which this is a professional segue, by the way.
Was it just shit talking?
Where he goes in his buddy's podcast or whatever, and he was complaining about the game where everybody was booing him and shit. And he's like, "What if I came to my cubicle or your cubicle and booed you?" Like, what?
What? Yeah.
What?
It didn't make sense.
Then you boo them. What?
Is he expecting that like people in average jobs, average situations don't have pressure, don't face criticism from the people above them, or the people that sign their paychecks? Because guess what, they do.
Yeah.
And, like if Baker Mayfield loses his job, guess what? He's got like a heap of money in a bank account that he can just ride off of. If one of us lose our jobs, we're fucked. Okay, like it's that simple. Number one. Number two, did he not see the Seinfeld episode from almost 30 years ago where Jerry went and booed the lady that heckled him at the comedy club? Then she ran out of the building, got ran over by a car, and lost her pinky toe. And at the same time, that elevated her to a job that Elaine was also going for. Did he not see that episode? Did he not know that existed?
That's so funny.
Because that happened.
I got to go back and watch that episode now.
When you said I was thinking about like a whole different thing because there was another Seinfeld character that got in trouble. But anyways,
enlighten us. If there's more Seinfeld.
You know what I'm talking about, James.
I know what you're talking about, sure. But listen, when I first saw it, like, this is a Seinfeld episode. That's what this is. It's Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I agree. I'm tired of it. But sure, you make a good point. Like he has the opportunity to do that if he wants. Like he could come out and say, "Look, guys, I've been very unfair. My ego got the best of me.
Ego's.
I'm willing to compete.
Yeah.
I'm willing to come in and compete with Deshaun. I understand that he may be suspended. I'd like to be the starting quarterback in the meantime. Like he could do all those things. And
if
in
he
an
does
instant,
all those things, he would earn my respect again.
Right? But that's not going to happen, though. You know what I mean?
He's too full of himself. He doesn't have any humility. Okay, until he finds humility, he will not find himself in another position to even compete for it. Okay, because let's be real here. During this same podcast thing, he said that Seattle is his most likely destination.
They just signed Geno Smith.
And then they went and brought back Geno Smith, being like, "Yep, that's not going to happen."
They brought back Geno Smith over Baker. That's hilarious.
That's hilarious, isn't it?
It speaks volumes about what organizations think about him. He's toxic. Like you got to have the talent. You got to have the talent if you're going to be the type of diva that he is. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, it's just
and he doesn't.
He's wrote checks that he cannot cash. Put it that way. He wrote a bunch of checks betting on himself, and now he's like, "Oh well, shit. I can't cash on any of this."
Mm-hmm.
And now that he's been exposed, he's brought all of this other outside problems into it as well. So now not only is he a shitty quarterback on the field, even when he is healthy, now he's also a shitty teammate and a shitty locker room presence and a shitty person to well-respected members of the media and shitty, frankly, to blue-collar workers everywhere in Cleveland by basically stating that none of you understand what it's like to have pressure at your job, like James said, when in fact, there's people that are working, 60-hour weeks, 7 days a week. And if something happened at their job, they got to figure out how to feed their family. I hate to say it.
At the end of the day, I think he wants to think in his head, oh, I could be a good person. And then he's trying to overly defend himself and it's just not working.
Yeah.
I think he's just delusional. I think he really does believe he's that good and he's not.
Yeah. I'll say it again. Dunning-Kruger syndrome.
Yep.
If he were
also that, like, we drafted him number 1 overall, and he feels like he developed a relationship with the city and the fans of Cleveland. So he's like, Cleveland, I love Cleveland and all that and stuff. And it's like, okay, dude, we get it, but it's a business at the same time. You have to be willing to adapt. Like, let's say all of us get a job at the same company, but then another company says, hey, we want you to come work for us. Like, are we going to turn petty and be like, oh, our original company, they were terrible and all this and that? No, I don't think so.
Sorry. Yeah, I get what you're saying, I guess. But my thing is you can't say that you love Cleveland and you embody the spirit of Cleveland and all of this, but then make comments like he made where you disrespect, the average everyday worker in the Cleveland area. So like you can't do both things. You can't say I love Cleveland, but I don't love these people that booed me. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
And
you
most
have to
of
have
the
it one
people,
way or the other. Do you love
Correct.
Cleveland? Do you love their fans? Or do you hate Cleveland fans? Because right now it sounds like you've got more problems with the fan base than you do good things to say about it.
I mean, thing is, being booed. I mean, why not just use that as although maybe he should just get rid of social media. I think that's the best thing. Just don't go on.
It wouldn't hurt,
He
but
still had people monitoring it for him. Okay,
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said was going to happen. Okay,
yeah, and
He's got an
unfortunately,
addiction.
his only chance at making money now is going to be outside of football. So canceling his social media accounts would not be wise from a business standpoint for Baker, because that might be the only thing that makes him money for a while.
bingo.
Is, sponsorships, commercials, all that sort of thing. He's going to need that moving forward. So I don't anticipate him deleting all social media and all of a sudden becoming a monk and this great leader and great teammate. It's just not going to happen.
Hey, if he pulled a Ricky Williams and did that, I think his life would get better.
Here's the difference. Ricky Williams is actually good.
Ricky Williams is a beast. Like a real
beast. Now he was a
Ricky
beast.
Williams
even
quit
when he
football
came
for a couple years just to smoke weed and get high, and came back and played for the Dolphins. Was still good.
I love Ricky Williams so much.
back. I do too. He's one of my favorites.
He signs autographs, smoke weed every day too. Like every time he signs, it's Ricky Williams, smoke weed every day. I love it.
Speaking of that, it's coming up soon, 420.
5 days.
But-
5 days.
But back
Yeah.
to sports.
For those who
That's how we're
celebrate.
at.
Yeah.
For those who celebrate.
It is a good number.
It is.
But anyways, moving on, sticking with football and sticking with the Browns, kind of, almost. Colin Kaepernick had a workout with a group of players, including David Njoku, Jakeem Grant, and Jarvis Landry.
Wow.
I find
So-
that very interesting.
Interesting for the Colin Kaepernick working out part, because it seems like he's trying to do something. He did have his glorified pro day at the Maize and Blue game in Michigan,
Yeah,
which was weird.
that was very weird.
It was very strange. And then he's doing this, and I'm not necessarily looking at the Kaepernick aspect of this. I'm looking at the fact that it's Njoku, it's Grant, and Landry participating, okay, which are 2 current Browns and 1 former, maybe again, future Brown in Landry.
So elaborate a little bit on that, James, and what you think this is. What is this saying?
Well,
Yeah, I see where you're going, and I see where it's leading to, but I want to hear.
what I'm seeing is that, one, the Browns I know are still in the mix for Landry. Okay, they're still in contact with him. They're still trying to work something out. Okay, the last time we saw Landry involved with workouts of players that he was not on the team with, it was him, Baker, and Odell before Odell got traded to Cleveland. Okay, so the dots I'm connecting here are 2 current Browns, another guy who's a free agent who may come back to the Browns, working out with the same quarterback.
It's good to see. It's definitely something to be optimistic for. The fact that he's still working closely with Cleveland teammates and former teammate. But yeah, I think that does say a lot about the situation with Jarvis Landry, and I just hope we re-sign him, because we don't have wide receivers right now. So it would make a whole lot of sense to bring him back. I don't see better alternatives out there right now with us not having a first round draft pick, outside of trading up somehow and getting one of those stud wide receivers. I think Landry's the best option that we have.
He is, and I think they should sign him not only because it's the best option that they have. Oh my God, the Diamondbacks just had a major league moment. 3 guys converging on the ball, and it drops between all 3 of them.
Yep.
But anyways, looking at the Browns, what this does if they were to sign Landry, it gives them flexibility in the draft. Okay, so they don't have to pick a wide receiver there. They can if he's the best player available, or they can go defensive lineman, like a defensive tackle or a defensive end, maybe a linebacker.
And let's be honest, it's a way deeper draft at those positions. So the chances are you're getting a much better player there than you would be drafting a wide receiver late.
Yes, exactly. So if you bring Landry back, it gives you flexibility and versatility in the draft, and that's the best way to get there, is have all your options available to you. If you get pigeonholed and backed into a corner, that's when you're not making a mistake like Brian Robisky at the top of round 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
God, I would love if we brought in Colin Kaepernick and Baker was gone. Not because I think Kaepernick would be a great quarterback for us or anything, but how funny would it be if the Browns signed Kaepernick and got rid of Baker?
That would be
hilarious.
For what it's worth, the Browns do have a full quarterback room at the moment with Watson, Brissett, and Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but
yeah.
I like our backups, though. I like those guys.
I like the backups.
Oh, yeah.
Backup quarterback situation's good for us. If there is a 4 to 8 game, whatever, suspension for Deshaun,
Jacoby kind of gives me some Nick Foles vibes a little bit.
Who does?
Jacoby.
Gives you Nick Foles vibes? I don't know. I've seen him play some really good football, like when his time in Indianapolis and stuff. So I don't know.
He's been in New England for a brief moment.
Yeah. I think if we do bring back a guy like Jarvis and he's got targets like that, he could be a nice player for us in the time being.
Yeah. And he has a little bit of mobility, so he could be a little bit of a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah.
He has the ability to run. He's not a running quarterback. He's a quarterback who can run.
Really. He's not a running quarterback, but he can run.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's fine. So it gives him some, I guess, flexibility at that position as well.
Yeah. It makes sense because all of the quarterback room are similar style quarterbacks, but one. Who's the odd man out? Baker Mayfield. So it's already like we've moved on. Like the offense is not to be built around Baker.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that sucks now is because we used to have all the leverage in the situation, but now it's the other way because everybody knows we don't want Baker. We don't need Baker. So what are they going to give us for him? You know what I mean? It's like
a ham sandwich.
Exactly.
You'll be lucky to get a ham sandwich. You're going to get a spam sandwich.
Yeah, it might be a spam sandwich.
Yeah.
I might take a spam sandwich over Baker Mayfield in his contract, actually.
Hey, you'll take a Facebook message?
Shit, I'd take a spam sandwich, and I'm a vegetarian, so.
Ooh. That's saying a lot. Spam is as non-vegetarian as it gets.
Spam is garbage, man.
It's an amalgamation of just meats and bones and
that's what spam is.
It's the leftover parts from what they make a hot dog out of. So it's the leftover parts of leftover parts.
Yeah.
Listen, I love a good hot dog at a ballpark, but I don't want to think about how they're made at all.
Yeah. I agree. Ignorance is bliss in that case.
Don't read The Jungle.
How hot dogs are made. I watched the show How It's Made.
Did any of you read the book The Jungle in high school?
I'm familiar with the works of Upton Sinclair.
Oh my God!
I've seen Fast Food Nation.
Do not read that. I remember that changed my view on the food industry for permanently.
Yeah,
but
Fast Food Nation.
I don't know.
Or The Jungle.
The Jungle.
The Jungle, not Fast Food Nation.
No, The Jungle was a book by Upton Sinclair.
Yeah.
When did this become a food hour?
All right. Josh says bring it back. It's time to bring it back.
We had too much class. James and I have too much class. We're talking about classic lit now.
I got to get out my pipe.
Yeah.
And, my glass of brandy.
Yeah.
And
we'll give up the classic literature of just being classically lit.
No, and James, in addition, you'll stick your pinky out like this while you're drinking
I do that in my water now.
Some real class there.
All right.
Real classy. Real classy.
Let's get back to real topics of discussion. If you remember, Tom Brady's final touchdown pass football was sold at auction. Then he unretired like 12 hours later. And
Wasn't it like 600,000 or
it
something?
was like $550,000 or something like that. But anyways, the sale of that football in that auction has been voided. The guy who got sold bought the football has got his money back. So good for him, because that guy probably felt like the ultimate chump when that happened.
Yeah, but if you've got the money to spend that much on a football, you probably aren't hurting that much.
Yeah, oh yeah, like
Yeah,
he
you
wasn't,
aren't
wasn't
hurt that
buying that
much.
as some long-term investment. And like, this is going to grow in value.
Right. He wasn't looking at it like this is an NFT.
Yeah,
No.
like I'm going to put this next to Peyton Manning's last touchdown football, which I also own.
How much do you think it would make them Pawn Stars?
I don't know how much Pawn Stars would give them for the Tom
Good
Brady.
God.
They'd
I
probably
have-
give them like $8,000 for it and then flip it for like 2.3 million.
Shout out to them.
I
Like,
haven't heard of that show in a minute.
So let's say this: if Brady was still retired and the guy brought it into Pawn Stars, they'd probably give him like $100,000 for it,
Yeah.
and then they would sell it for $500,000.
Yeah, as soon as you walk out the door, they'd be doing that, the cut scene to them in the back talking about how bad you just got fucking ripped off. I love how they do that. Like, they'll be like real nice and cordial, and then the second they leave, they'll cut back to them and they're like, man, we really fucking got this for a good price. It's like, dude.
I mean, for what it's worth, that show's all scripted. Negotiations are all done off camera, and they're just acted out on camera. So
It's a fun title though, Pawn Stars. That is a good TV show name.
I mean,
wonder
do you remember the Detroit one, Hardcore Pawn?
Oh, that's good. That's even better.
I was about to say, I don't know. I have a theory that a lot of those shows could be like half scripted, half not.
They're pretty much all scripted.
Yeah,
You
all
look
of
at all those reality shows; they have writers, or at least people that put people in situations on purpose because they know something's going to happen. If it's not scripted, it's planned from a broad perspective.
Yeah.
But
Shirk, I get what you're saying though. Like people's reactions sometimes are genuine because it's actually happening and stuff. But yeah, most of it's scripted and situational.
That's all I'm saying. I think there's like some part that isn't.
Yeah, some of it's
some part
genuine
is.
reaction. Like somebody will say something funny to somebody or whatever. Like that's really how they felt. But yeah, it's usually very scripted.
yeah. So, anyways, back to football again. The Colts got themselves a new corner,
Hey.
Stephon Gilmore.
Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah, this is a good one for the Colts, I think. I like it a lot.
I think it was a 2-year deal, if I remember correctly.
I believe so.
That sounds right.
Stephon Gilmore he's a solid corner. It is a 2-year deal. He is 31 years old, so when you look at corners that are on the other side of 30, you're really risking it at that point. But I mean, the Colts needed some defensive help. They got some defensive help. So
yeah, this was a necessary signing for them. Like they really needed help there. So yeah, this is good. But I don't know how many. Like, I don't know what the war situation is on this. I don't know how many wins this adds to their win total. Adding Stephon Gilmore, it's not that big of a mover to me.
Maybe like half a win.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
That's where I'd probably put it.
I mean, you want a veteran. Like it's good to have at least one of those in your defensive backfield. You know what I mean? It's good to have at least one. But you're right. Anytime you're on the other end of 30, it's not the devaluation of players after they hit that mark at this position happens a lot faster than for a quarterback.
And it's exponentially faster too. Like not just faster, like it doubles and triples and quadruples.
Yeah. I mean, think about like a guy like Richard Sherman. Like there was talk of him being the league MVP, and then it just seemed like kind of dropped off a cliff. He sort of revived his career and had some good years, but like nowhere near that level where it was like, oh god, this guy is. There was a while where he was just untouchable.
Remember Darrelle Revis? There was a period.
Yeah, Revis Island. He was a Revis Island. That was a real thing. Like,
and then he went to Tampa, And
Yep, and it's just like that. The depreciation happens so fast at that.
it does, and what that came down to, and what happened with Nnamdi Asomugha before him is it came down to scheme. Rivas and Asomugha are both man corners, and they signed with teams that ran zone. And so when that happens, they're not playing up to what their skills make them better as. I mean, the reason why Richard Sherman was able to still be successful in San Francisco is San Francisco ran zone defense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Rivas was able to revitalize his career once he got to New England, but
they run man.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and it just goes to show too, like when you talk about things like the drafts and things like free agency, like just because somebody's a good player does not mean they're a good fit. You know what I mean? And this is one of those situations where, if it's not the right fit, if it's not the right style of play, like they just won't be valuable on your team. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of guys that are valuable to their teams, Derek Carr signs an extension with the Raiders. 3-year, $121.5 million deal
with a no trade clause in there.
I wish I had that money.
We all wish he had that money, but
yeah.
Here's what this tells me. This speaks to me, I guess, it says a lot more about Josh McDaniels than it does about Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Okay, because you remember the last time Josh McDaniels was the head coach, he had a disagreement with Jay Cutler, shipped him out of town, and the entire team crumbled within a year.
Yeah.
Okay. He identified that Derek Carr is a good, not great quarterback, realizes that if he's going to succeed, it's going to be with Derek Carr. And instead of making him play in the final year of his deal or running him out of town, he's like, there's value here. I'll keep him in town for a couple more years and help build consistency across the roster. If there is a time when they have to move on, which might be after this extension, there'll at least be enough value built up from the eyes of the players on the roster that if a quarterback change happens, they can at least believe in the coach making the decision is making the right decision.
Correct. I also think it's interesting that there's a no trade clause in this contract. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing necessarily. I just think it's an interesting component.
Well, as you know, a player who has a no trade clause can waive a no trade clause to be traded.
Correct.
Deshaun Watson, for example. So what this does is it makes everything seem just more official, permanent. Like we're not going to look to trade you type of situation.
It also, to me, this says that, like, okay, we think that we've got a good enough roster to go out and compete and win this division. They really believe that. I think that, I mean, I don't think that they will, but they believe it. They've made a lot of good moves. They've done a lot of good things. And by making, giving this extension, it kind of, it lets you move forward and just aim for these team goals when you don't have the thought of, what's my future going to be? Like now Derek Carr is paid, he's going to go into the season with a solitary focus, and it's going to be to try to win that division. So I think it's great for them moving forward that as just from a mental standpoint, that he doesn't have to endure that this season. I think it's going to make him better. Yeah.
Do you think there's a possibility that all four teams from the AFC West get into the playoffs?
Maybe.
But it's so good. I just don't see it all happening from one division.
It's possible. Sure. Is it probable? No. At some point, there's some cannibalization that happens between the teams in the division.
Yeah.
Which will put the teams at the lower end of the standings out of the playoff picture. Unless every other team in the AFC that's not the division winner sucks, there's not really a chance for that to happen.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that there's too many good teams outside of the division for that to happen. But it is a really good division. Like I get what you're saying. Like is there a chance that these four teams are, the best four teams? Like sure, but I just don't think from a record standpoint, with like James said, the cannibalization, like the bottom of the division is not going to have enough to get in probably.
Yeah, because you look at the AFC South, there's only one team that's going to really probably win that division. Okay. There's only be one team there. There's between the Browns, Bengals, and Ravens. Those are three teams that can make the playoffs very easily. Then there's the Bills and Patriots in the AFC East.
What about the Dolphins?
I'm not a Tua believer, so no.
No Tua on.
No Tua on.
No,
Nah.
No Tua on. So
Respect us though, because we're tough.
I mean, maybe the Dolphins keep things interesting, but I don't think they're a playoff team.
Yeah, I think it's a fun, sexy team that I would like playing Madden with.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they can have any legitimate success in the AFC. Fun to play with on Madden. They're going to have some players that'll do some really good things. I just don't think that they're good enough. If they were in the other conference, maybe.
Yeah.
That's actually who I think the Browns are going to open the season against is Miami, in Miami.
Who did they open the season against last year?
Kansas City.
So, yeah, they're not going to open against Miami. They're going to open against a division rival, and that's probably going to be the Bengals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They usually alternate. We've had this conversation before, Josh. They usually alternate between division rival and non-division rival.
Yeah.
It's very rare that they don't.
Interesting, because in an article I just recently wrote for Fanside, I made some predictions about marquee games in the home opener and stuff. I had week 1, I had us playing in Miami against the Dolphins, and then week 2 for the home opener, we play against the Jets.
Well, we were on the road last year to start the season. They usually don't like teams starting the season on the road twice in a row.
Yeah.
So home game to start the year against the Bengals.
Fair enough.
Seems like a lot of sense to me. Just kind of throwing some stuff out there, looking at patterns. That's the pattern I look at.
I'm in the camp that I don't give a shit.
I mean, I really don't either, but I'm just...
we're gonna play them. We're gonna play them eventually this year, whether it's game 1 or game 3 or game 5. I don't really particularly care.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. I just am really interested in like the schedule and all that. For some reason, that's one of the most fascinating parts of the game. Of sports, I should say, for me.
It's pretty niche, Josh. It's pretty niche.
Yes, it is. So let's see. We got about 10 minutes left. So we're just going to touch on hockey super quick. It was announced that the Boston Bruins are going to host the Pittsburgh Penguins in the 2023 Winter Classic at Fenway Park. I'm sure you're excited about this one, Brian.
Yeah, I'm always excited for the Winter Classic, and especially when the Penguins are in it. This will be our 7th outdoor game, I believe. So we've had them before. They're always fun. The fact that it's going to be at Fenway, one of the most iconic parks in the country in any sport, makes it even more exciting. And yeah, I think it's great. I don't know how great of a matchup it is or won't be. There's a lot of question marks for what these two teams will look like in 2023. But yeah, to me, it's a great matchup. It makes perfect sense for them to have it there. And
yeah, I'm really excited about it. I love the Penguins-Bruins rivalry. It's always fun to watch these two teams play against each other. And then the Penguins clinched their 16th consecutive Stanley Cup playoff spot last night with a victory over another rival, the New York Islanders.
Yeah, so they now own the longest streak in the major professional sports leagues in America with consecutive playoff appearances. So,
I did not know that.
Yep, 16.
Yeah. And as of right now, if the Stanley Cup playoffs started today, they would be opening the series on the road at Madison Square Garden against the New York Blue Shirts.
And I would hate that matchup because they give us fits. So, but yeah, that's probably enough for one day.
Yep. I personally hate the Rangers. They are the team that I hate most in all of the NHL.
I do not like them either. I'm with you there. They're one of my more hated teams. But
I just think they are so full of themselves and like, oh, we're the New York Rangers. We play in Madison Square Garden. Look at us. Like, shut up. You haven't done anything since 1994.
It's fair criticism.
All right, Josh. The Penguins have the longest current postseason streak. Who has the longest all-time streak in hockey?
Detroit Red Wings.
That is incorrect.
Oh, all time?
Yeah.
Oh, all time?
I thought they did the
Penguins?
23.
New York Rangers?
The Red Wings had 25, but that's not the longest one.
Boston Bruins.
It is the Boston Bruins. 29
Mm.
years in a row, from 67-68 season to 95-96.
Yay, another team that I hate a ton.
The Bees.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't like the Bees either.
I hate the Boston Bruins.
Speaking of, we've got the Boston Bruins tomorrow in Boston. So a little preview of next year's Winter Classic.
Yeah, how do you feel about the matchup?
I don't know. This is a team we always struggle with. So it could go either way, but I'm going to pick the Penguins because why the hell not? They're my
Yeah.
favorite.
I'm actually looking into going to the last Penguins game of the season when they host Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
If I do go, I'm getting myself a Jake Gensel jersey. Pennsylvania, baby.
The Boston Bruins are on a 3-game slide, though, so they're looking to bounce back. It's the right time for us to go against them. So, yeah, for that reason, I'm going to give the Penguins an edge. But, yeah, this one's a pick 'em pretty much.
Yeah, it's the start of a home-and-home series for the Penguins against the Bruins because their next game is against Boston, I believe, in Boston, and then they come home and play Boston again.
Which is interesting because we just did a home and home with the New York Islanders. So two home and homes back to back, which you don't see a lot in the NHL. I know you like your scheduling stuff. So
Yes, I do.
yeah, that's a rarity for NHL. So.
Yeah, it's just a fun part of the game for me is looking at the schedules and stuff.
Well, what do we have? Do we have anything we missed? Anything on the rundown? Anybody have any last thoughts? Because we've only got about 3.5 minutes left.
I do have a baseball trivia question for you.
Ooh, nice.
All right.
It is in honor of Jackie Robinson Day. As you know, the number 42 was retired across baseball. Who was the last player to appear wearing 42 as their number?
Mariano Rivera.
Yep, Mariano Rivera.
Got it.
I know.
Dang it.
Mariano Rivera.
I knew that one too.
Josh, let me give you see if you could take a stab at this question. Only 3 players have played for every New York-based organization: the Yankees, Mets, and then the Dodgers and the Giants. Can you name one player who played for all 4 of those baseball teams? Yankees, Mets. You're welcome to answer too, Shirk. Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, Giants.
Jackie Robinson was traded to the Giants, but he never actually played for them.
It's not Jackie Robinson.
Okay. David Wright only played for the Mets, so that's not it. Jeter, he only played for the Yankees.
I'll give you a hint. It's 80s, 90s.
Oh, this is right.
The most recent one would have been in the 2000s, but it's insignificant. So,
Dang, I struggle with 80s and 90s. Not gonna lie.
You want to take a guess, Shirk?
80s and 90s?
Jim
Nobody?
Tony?
I'm not answering, Brian, because you asked me this on our pod.
Yeah, James knows the answer. That's why he's not answering. So, all right, I'm going to give it to you if you're not going to take a guess, Josh.
I'm not very good with 80s and 90s.
All right, the main one was Darryl Strawberry.
I remember him.
The other 2.
Oh, I feel like an idiot now.
I didn't get it either, Josh. Don't worry.
Jose Vizcaíno is the other one, and Ricky Leday.
I should have known Darryl
Is he
Strawberry.
French?
Ricky Leday? I don't think he's French, no. But he played for the Guardians in 2000. So, fun fact.
All right.
Yeah, but he's the only notable one out of them, really. Oh, Jose Vizcaíno, he had an okay career.
Yeah, so we got about 2 minutes left. Hey, it's not only is it Jackie Robinson Day, Guardians home opener, and the Cavs play-in day, it is the first night of Passover, and it's also Good Friday.
It is. So to everybody who celebrates, no matter what your religion, creed, orientation, blah, blah, blah.
Spirituality, whatever.
I hope you guys have a safe, awesome weekend with your friends and family. Josh, I know you got friends and family coming over, so I hope you guys have an awesome, awesome weekend. And yeah.
Sure, you doing a Seder tonight?
Probably not. I will celebrate Easter though.
I'll be participating in Stephen Kwanzaa.
Yes. We made that clear that that's our new holiday.
So So that's
Stephen
the So
Kwanzaa.
What's the Catch holiday now? It's Stephen Kwanzaa?
Stephen
I mean,
Kwanzaa.
that is his Twitter handle. Ask Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
Wait, how long does the holiday go?
As long as he's awesome.
Yeah. So probably permanently.
This
As
is a
of now, we'll call it indefinitely.
You've heard of the never-ending story? This is a never-ending holiday.
It is.
Wait,
It
so
just
it's
goes
like-
Kwan and Kwan and Kwan.
So it's like the song that never ends.
Just like that, but, not annoying.
Don't worry, I'm not going to start singing it because I know how
long
much
as-
it annoys you.
As long as Stephen Kwan continues to have an excellent Kwan base percentage,
Yes.
Stephen Kwan will continue.
All
Oh,
right. Well,
I
this was
even
a fun one, guys. Everybody have a good weekend, and we will see you guys next week. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with your friends.
yep.
Can't wait for the game to start on the corner of Carnegie and Quantario.
Ontario.
Go
And
Cavs.
also- Hey,
Go
don't
Cavs.
forget
Yep,
the
go
game
Cavs.
at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse.
Go Cavs.
Yes. Hopefully, we're playing on Sunday against Miami.